Yo, what is good, my anime people? What is good, yo? So, we pretty much know a lot about the hero hunter now, in the grand scheme of why he would want to be a hero hunter, kind of, and just how Bang pretty much found him in the first place, or vice versa. Garo found Bang. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of things within this week's episode that kind of gave me the feeling that a lot has already, um, a lot has already been said about these characters, and they're kind of just getting down to the business now. I mean, which is fine by me, because that's all I really wanted to see in the first place was just some hype action that actually looks fire and blows my mind. But uh, to think that whatever we got with this week's episode is still going to be probably, shunned and talked down about because it just looks the way it does. So it doesn't really matter what the creators do at this point. They're never going to win over the general audience with anything they practically throw up at this point. So it's kind of gotten to that point where you're just like, oh well, yeah, this show is a thing. It's this is definitely a thing, and overall, it just feels more and more like the real fans who just want to see the story, and the real fans who just want to see somewhat of the action look dope at times, and sure, it doesn't look dope all the time. We're the ones that are truly going to be sticking around to see the final episodes and even another season if it comes out, because at this point, uh, it looks like it's already over. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at how things are forming up right now, uh, I mean, it looks like things aren't even getting close to being over, because not only did we just see all of these heroes get absolutely thrashed by one person who's not even a real monster, it just goes to show you that what could the true monsters who are like clearly strong enough to, keep Genos on his toes. Uh, I mean, sure they didn't do much to him in this week's episode, but I mean that those were like grunts, so they were never meant to do anything in the first place. Uh, and then we have Garo, who just absolutely murders the whole entire show this week. My god, this was so dope. And I called it too. I put Hero Hunter hype on my last title because as soon as they stopped it, kind of like how they stopped it this week, is something's about to pop off the very beginning of the next episode. Like that's just the implications that they've been setting since like episode 10 now, I believe. Like it's been non-stop, like, oh, and then this guy walks into this area and winds up finding himself, about to fight all these other people. So I'm really interested in actually seeing how they're going to incorporate like having Bang come in after all the fighting that's already taken place, right? How are you just going to send in one guy who is probably even stronger than he's ever been before because he's on the hunt for this one particular person, and he wants to uh, do his wrongs by training him and then finding out that he wants to become a monster and stuff like that. So we're getting that now, and to think that it came kind of late, like it's getting pretty late in the whole entire season to see, Bang, who's been chasing after this guy since the jump that we heard about the Hero Hunter. He's probably been chasing him since he went to the martial arts tournament and messed that up. So it kind of gives you perspective just how long of how much they've been trying to figure out where this guy is or what he's going to attack next. So to finally see everything he's attacking and to finally see how powerful he is taking on all these A-class heroes. The one thing I noticed a lot of was the breathing. Like every time he took a breath, he was in a position to pretty much dominate any parts of the fight. So hopefully that's something that shows up again in this next fight with Bang, because holy crap, he's going to need quite a bit of an upgrade to take on the man who trained him. Not to mention the fact that he's completely thrashed. Like he should have zero to no chance of ever winning this because of how much damage he's already sustained. Um, but to be fair, that's exactly what I said about Genos versus him. So I was like, wow, after he's fought all these people, now you show up? Like, there's nothing to fight here. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, he's actually stealing techniques from a person he's only fought one time. Like, that's how ridiculously in tune and powerful this guy is because of what he's been through, what he's seen. He continuously uses it for his own, uh, gradual leveling and his own his own way of learning new techniques. So, for instance, he straight up uses the Dogman or Watchdog, whatever his name was. The guy who pretty much almost became one of my favorite heroes, even though it really didn't show that much of his thing. All he did was put his paw on the hero hunter's hand, and that was pretty much it, and then he shows up somewhere else completely beaten and battered as if he lost the fight, easily lost the fight, so it's one of those things where they could have they could have elaborated more on what they've had, and I think that's my kind of issue with the show as well. I mean, the fighting looks the way it does, the graphics looks the way it does, yada yada yada. But when you then show me that you have the potential of all these fights, and then you don't elaborate like a further explanation as to what could have happened in these moments, that even maybe the novel didn't get into, or something else along those lines, it just didn't it just doesn't happen. Like they're afraid to elaborate on something that hasn't been elaborated on, so they can't do anything with it, and because of that it suffers when you see not only like the busted up blurry graphics, but then it ends so abruptly that you can't even really tell what happened. Like, oh, he shook, and then it just goes to black screen, of him like freaking out about how strong this guy is, and then that was it. So I'm just glad they didn't do that for this scenes, and they actually showed us everything practically. I mean, from a breakdown of all the people that he literally takes out in this week's episode, we can definitely say the guy in the green jumpsuit got it the worst out of everybody, man. Holy crap. Like, I've never seen somebody feel like he's helpful and then at the same time get shot down in the case of like, oh, well, no, you're actually complete trash. You're gutter trash. Like, my God, he got thrashed so bad. And to think that this man has had an encounter with Saitama, the person who literally looks the same as he does back when he was in a green tracksuit, still trying to break his limits or surpass his limits, as this guy calls it. He's like, I'm just a normal human and I'll never surpass my limits. Saitama's like, what? You gonna surpass your limits, man? I wore that same tracksuit. I had those same glasses at one point. Come on, bruh. You gonna make it, and what do you know? He still doesn't make it. I don't know. It just felt weird that this character looks so identical to what Saitama looked like with hair and stuff, that it was kind of funny. That this guy, not only is he considering himself like just normal human, I mean, the things he does is like assist, like he's grabbing arrows off the ground and giving them back and stuff like that. So to then see him in the middle of the fights and he's actually like trying to help, and he throws these rocks and pretty much gives Garo more ammunition, like stuff like that that just made me giddy with anticipation of like what was going to happen next, because clearly whatever was popping off was not in the favor of, you know, these characters who are going against the hero hunter. Not only that, what we traded. Not only that, the fact that all of this stuff takes place in one episode, and he pretty much thrashes all of these A class, and then or well, maybe like the equivalent of three S classes show up now, because Bang is ridiculously powerful. He's not the strongest S class of them all. Genos isn't the strongest of them all, but he's insanely powerful. And then you have Bang's brother, who probably could be a hero, an S class hero, but just isn't. So that's why I say it's like the equivalent of three, because I know someone's gonna be like, there wasn't three S class heroes here. You aren't even watching the episode. It's like, okay, so what do you consider Bang's brother to be if he was a hero? Like, where would he rank? Please indulge me. Um, but yeah, with all that being said, this episode was absolutely hype. Like, I thought the episode of the tournament, where it was just mainly fighting and didn't really deal with any talking and stuff, was the best episode. But this episode, and hopefully next week, we'll be able to continue this trend of absolutely god tier of fighting. Man, like, not only was it dope of fighting, but it feel like the old One Punch Man like creators were a part of this, because of how beautiful and how well done the hero hunter looked throughout the whole entire episode. And I think that's what kind of hurt Jump Force the most, is you have the most powerful, funny, animated character that is practically should be a shonen, and they couldn't get One Punch Man, which also means they couldn't get the hero hunter, they couldn't get Genos. And to say all that, to say this, there's an actual One Punch Man game coming out called The Hero Nobody Knows. And it's literally a kill looking game that is absolutely going to make even more people angry after they had to see season 2 this way, and now have a game come out for this person that we love, and it seemingly is even worse than the anime. So they just keep destroying themselves. But with all that being said, I have Black Clover I want to drop here pretty soon, so I hope you guys stick around for that, or give it some attention as you are giving this one. I am your boy, the Anime G, and I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, evening, whatever the case may be, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Remember Netero and Fist of Gratitude.